So we bought it and this was to give us negative delta in our account. So it's an expense that's worth it to me. But we bought it for $31.98. The first week we sold $1.34 after we bought it back for a penny in credit, taking our basis down to $30.64. And then today, after closing for 7 cents and selling for $1.22, we made another $1.15. So our basis now on this put, instead of being $31.98, our basis is now $29.49. So what are we going to do? Well, we want to figure out how much longer we have in that stock, or how much longer we have on that put. So again, remember $29.49. And let's look at how many weeks out we have to go on this thing. So right now there's 147 days left, which is 21 weeks. Okay, so we want to take the $29.49 divided by 21 weeks, and we need to take in $1.40 in credit this week to offset the weekly cost. So we're going to, again, keep trying to zero this sucker out. So we're going to go out to next week, and I'm going to find me a put that's going to generate me roughly $1.40, which again is the 219 put again this week for $1.40. We're going to sell that put against it. So I'm going to put an order in right now. It's looking at $1.36, $1.38, something like that. So all we're doing is we're utilizing this put to give us negative delta, which it's doing, and then we're selling a put against it to work the cost down, and then we just got filled on it. So I'm going to put this in to our trade platform here, and then I'll post it for you. So what I did today on IWM, today is 4/23. We sold the 430, the 219 put again for $1.40. Paste that in, and sold that put 219 for $1.40 credit. And we sold the covered put. Okay, so still IWM still giving us a nice positive theta because of that short. The long put is about a -3 theta, but this short is 16 theta. So it's going to give us positive theta. We still have a delta on it. Instead of 53 negative, we're going to subtract the 17 from that. So really, we have a -35 deltas on this trade. And we have positive vega, so it's perfect. It's doing what we want. If this thing continues to rise towards here, it's all good because I'm making my money back on it and reducing the basis, and all the time it's balancing out my portfolio, which is a wondrous thing. All right, so there's IWM. That's what we're doing on IWM. I hope that makes sense. If you have questions, certainly pipe up, let me know. Let's take a look at NEO. So NEO, we sold the 40 put, which expires today, and we're sitting at 40.66. So this was a roll, by the way, so it's massively profitable on NEO. Our credit on the roll right now is $4.10. I mean, we took in a small credit when we rolled it. We're down to 21 cents, so we've got a winner in here. We'll let this thing percolate a bit for the day. We'll see if we can get that down to a pretty small amount, and then we may just buy NEO back this afternoon. Or if it continues to look good and stay above here, we can let it expire. Or if we have to, we'll roll, because you know what? I would do this again next week at 40. And I'll stay in NEO for as long as it takes. NEO is in a squeeze here. MACD's firing long. RSI's firing long. Stochastics is firing strong. I mean, there's nothing bad about NEO. Expected move next week is up here, in this 43-ish range or so, 45, 44 range. I think NEO's getting there. So I think NEO's got itself based out here. Maybe a 1, 2, triple bottom, who knows what. Breaking above the 22. NEO looks fantastic here. Look at the squeeze momentum has definitely reversed along with the MACD. So everything reversed back here off of this low. It's a good looking trade. So like Neo, if you're not in it, I'd be looking at it for next week as well to sell something. So we're going to be out of Neo today. And we're going to see what happens on Neo. Let's look at some other things we have. PayPal. So PayPal is an in-out spread that we have. We bought the 265, sold the 270 on PayPal. It's going to expire today. It's in the red. There's nothing. It's not going to get there. But we're only down a little bit. I'm going to close it out just to save the money that's in there. Could it rally hard today? It's possible, but I'm going to get out. So we're going to take a little loss on PayPal as an in-out trade. But you know what? Overall, not too bad. We expect that we're going to have some losses in these things. 3, I'm going to get out of PayPal, and I closed PayPal out at $1.16 just now. It's not going to make it to where I need it to be today. It's right at the bottom of the range. It could, if it goes 5 more points, then I sold early for no reason, but it's expiring today. I'll take the 50% loss on it and just get out, which is okay. So on in-out trades, it's certainly within the realm of what we expect on PayPal. Or on these in-out trades would be anything less than a 65% loss. Expires today. So instead of making it a lottery trade, which again, I sized it appropriately. So if I lose the whole thing, I don't really care. And you probably could make more, but I'm just getting out. There's no reason for me to hang in on this in-out trade. Is it early? Maybe. All right. Sorry. Let's look at a few more things, and then we'll move on to some new trade opportunities. We also have a Riot in-out trade on, and Riot's been a complete and utter disaster and continues to be a disaster. So we put this in-out trade on. We thought Riot was, here when it was breaking, everything looked fantastic, and then Riot went completely in the toilet. Down here, squeeze break to the downside. Everything's selling. Riot looks horrific right now. Are we at a low? Maybe. You want to sell some puts? Go ahead. Falling knife, not me. So we're going to close. We're going to just let Riot expire. We're going to be a full loser on Riot because it had moved so fast against us that there was really nothing that we could do. So that'll be a full loser trade for us, which not ideal, but it is what it is. Bear with me, see if I can. My sheets. Okay, so Riot will be a loser. So a couple in-out trade losers. It's been a tough couple weeks anyway on the market, even though we're at highs, just in a couple wrong things. All right, let's look at XLY today. And the market's just going up and up. We're now up 21 points on SPX on the day. So it's continuing to move. I don't know what the expected range was at the open this morning. Maybe one of you guys can tell me, but it looks to be somewhere around 13, 14 points. So super narrow expected range for just today on SPX. So it would have been hard to put on anything 0 DTE there, and everything's heading up, which is all good. So XLY, which is good for us as well, came down, didn't really touch the 21 EMA, but I think that was a really nice pullback on it, and now potentially moving itself back higher. So what do we have to deal with today? Well, we own this 140 call, which is way down here. It's almost not going to be on the screen anymore. So we own this long call on XLY, and we sold the 180 call up here, which we're not going to get to. It's at 4 cents right now. So we're going to take this thing off. and we're going to put an order in for 4 cents, see if we can get filled. We may or may, we did. Okay. All right, so I'm going to close out the XLY trade on that call. Or 4 cents. So let me get that posted as well. So that's a nice winner. 94% premium capture. It's buy to close this April 23 call, 180 call. And we did it for 4. We closed it for 4 cents. All right, so we closed the XLY call that we had, and what are we going to do? We're going to sell another one. So let's take a look at XLY, and we're going to go out to next week, and we're going to look to put something else on in here. We sold the 180 before, and that still looks pretty decent. I mean, I think we could easily hit it, though. If this market continues to roll, not much premium for the 181. What we might do is go out 2 weeks to May 27. And what can we get? Really not a whole lot better. So no sense not, we might as well just stick to the week, to the 7 day. I think it's a little bit better, but I'm going to sell the 180 again, I think, on this, which could, the expected move is 181, and I really want to be at the expected move. So you know what? That's what we're going to do. So we're going to sell at the expected move. I'm going to go to the 181 for next week, and if it hits the expected move, fine. All right, so we sold that thing. So let me add this to our trades. It's early. I'd rather do these in the afternoon, to be honest with you. It's just that we're on these calls and going through them. I think it makes sense. You guys can always wait. You can always do your own thing. You don't need me to do that for you. So here's what we're going to do. We are going to sell another covered call on XLY. Better credit than last week's as well. We have made some nice money on XLY. Okay, so there you go. So now XLY is taken care of. So all of the things that we've been looking at, I think we've got adjusted in here. Now, with the market moving higher, our 2 DTE trade, we actually took it off yesterday when it hit my 5 cent close. So we took that off, and that was the 4,200 was the center strike, which we probably weren't going to test today anyway, even being up 21 cents or 21 bucks, but it's good. It's okay. But we are now sitting at highs of the day and climbing. I think we're going to recover much of what we lost, if not more, from yesterday. So I don't know if we're going to get all the way up to here, but I think we're going back, and I think we're going back to highs. I think this tax thing's just overblown. So 4170 is, are we going to hit 4170 today? Yeah, I think so. So I think there's a good opportunity. That's 14 points away from where we are. Well, we could definitely hit 4160, 4170 today. I think it's going to take, I think we're going to get somewhere a lot near the top or near yesterday's open. So I think we're going to recover much of that. I'm going to watch the 15. I'm going to watch the 5. If I see weakness, we're going to look to trade another SPX 2 DTE butterfly. Technically, it's a 3 now. Expected move for Monday is about 27, 28 points from where we are now. But I think we're going higher on the day potentially. So right now, the 41.90, 41.95, 42.15, selling for about 65 cents. And I think that's where I'd like to get it if I could. I don't know if we're going to get that. If we're going to get that for Monday, but I'm going to try for 65 cents in here. In fact, I'm going to put the order in for 65 cents. And we'll see what happens. So I'm going to let that thing percolate. Right now, it's going to take a little bit more of an upside to get to that 65 cents. Right now, we're sitting at 57 cents on that for Monday, but let's see what happens. If I have to adjust, I will. But we've run up pretty heavy on the day, and we're past our expected move on the day. So it might be a topping point. We'll see. All right, so there's where we are on a 2 DTE trade. We're going to put it on the 41.90, 41.95, 42.15. I'm trying for 65 cents. All depends on how this market keeps going. We're about to hit our first 15-minute range. We're still at highs of the day. The 15 still pointing up solidly, which gives me hope that we'll probably be able to get there. But I don't know. A couple things we've got working right now, and that'll probably knock our deltas down if that goes through. Right now, it's early, and I'd better check this in the afternoon. Oh, it's about 10:15, so not too bad. Right now, my delta is positive 43, theta 359, and vega a minus 491. So vega's still pretty hefty, but I'm not too worried about it in this environment right now. But we'll keep an eye on it. It is high, but slightly positive delta, which is where I want to be. I want to be as close to zero right now, but positive because the SPX is above the 21. If the SPX breaks below this 21, then I'll look to keep my deltas close to zero, but maybe with a slightly negative bent. The 21 EMA to me is my barometer for that. So if we break it, if we're above, I like to stay positive on delta slightly. 0 to slightly positive, below it, 0 to slightly negative. And I've already explained, I think, all of that in Slack with everybody. So hopefully all that info made sense to you that we've been posting. So good conversations with Vasil. And Vasil, if I'm saying your name right or not, let me know. But I'm assuming it's Vasil. But good stuff. Good discussions in there. I like it. And it's good to keep me on my toes as well. So we'll keep an eye on this. Not looking fantastic for this 2 DTE. I'm going to modify to 60, and we'll see what happens. If we keep pushing higher on the day. Okay. Which I still think we will, but we'll watch, see what happens. All right, let's take a look. Any stocks you guys want to hit? Bhavesh always has something exciting to take a look at. Oh, I know I want to touch base on. I will slowly be pulling off some of these put spreads one by one. It's going to free up some buying power. The MES is really where I'm loving those trades even more. So I'm going to free up some buying power, and these are all looking pretty good. So as they get profitable, I'm going to start to pull them off a bit. In these 100 DTE trades, they're all just a little red for the most part. They're down like $1 to $2, which is nothing. We're not really pushing. We're not really pushing expected moves yet on them. So expected move for next week on SPX, though, is around 42.20, which is now starting to get in the range of one of no, not any. 42.70 is a range, and 42.20 is a range on 2 of mine. So those I may look to take off and just take them off for the loss. If we touch the short strike on it, we'll keep an eye on how those are looking. Not a big deal on those. I was hoping that would pan out a little bit more, but this market has just been unrelentingly higher. We thought we had a little pullback going, and it turned out to be a nothing burger this week. But you'll see me starting to slowly pull off some of these put spreads as they start to hit my. I'm going to probably put a 50% target so I can get out of some of these. All right, so Neo we've covered, Disney we've rolled, Chewy we're doing our thing, AMD's up nicely today. All things look good. Let's take a look at some stocks. Pins was something somebody mentioned earlier somewhere. And you got earnings coming up. So, I mean, if you're going to play a run into earnings on 427, that's fine. I don't know what else you would be doing. So besides an earnings play, here's your expected move. Let's wait and see for the week on it, which means if you wanted to play something, you could potentially put a strangle on this thing and see where we go, or you can sell puts below that expected move for the week. Take a look at Apple. You got earnings coming up, so it's really not a lot of things that I absolutely love and have to play right now. So this 2 DTE, I'm going to kill the order. I know I'm jumping around. I'm going to go back in, and I may revamp my strikes. Boy, I don't want to play with these too much because I think this market has a real potential to get moving. All right, let's see if I can get in. So the trouble with these 2 DTEs, they're real susceptible to these intraday moves. If we start to really sell off, it's going to hurt me a bit. So I'm taking a quick look here. I'm going to see if I can do the 41.85, 41.90, 42.10 for about 70 cents. With some of this weakness right here, ticks are getting closer to zero. I think it's just a little morning selling. I'll keep an eye on it. I'd like to get filled and just be done with it for the morning. So sorry, I know we deviated. Apple, hey, looking decent, but ran out of some steam. But I think you're still good on Apple. I think there's a good opportunity here. In my IRAs, I have poor man's covered calls on Apple, and those are all in really, really good shape right now. So good poor man's covered call on Apple. I think this is a good opportunity on it. I also have Boeing as a poor man's covered call in the IRAs. So I technically own the 160 calls, which is not even on the screen anymore for Boeing. Those are up a lot. And I sold some 250s yesterday on this in the IRA, which is profitable. Yep. And there's our 2 DTE. Hope I didn't chase it too much, but we'll see what happens. So give me a second here. We'll post our 2 DTE. Really, I don't like the chase thing, but I also want to make sure I'm in earlier in the day because it really starts to dry up later in the day. Bear with me. A lot of activity today so far in this account. 4.6. Paul Butterfly, we did the 41.85, 41.90, 42.10. I sold that for 70 cents just now. Again, for me, these are all good because they reduce delta and keeps my delta low, which allows me to keep adding wheel trades and other things on. I want the losses to get out of hand, but my account takes those into account. So my account is now these 2 DTEs, the delta on those is heavy because it's only 2 days away. So it adds a lot more delta, which is why I'm not going to overreact to the fact that I now have negative 95 delta on an account. But my account's also up a full % today. So we've got a nice bunch of winners going today in the account. So Boeing, so we'll jump back to that. I sold the 250 call yesterday on my leap, and it's outside of next week's expected move, so that's fine. I also opened up a poor man's covered call, or I'm sorry, a short put in all of my IRAs on TNA, which is one of my all-time favorites. So love TNA, love to trade that. I think this has been in a nice sideways range, consolidating quite a bit here in a triangle. Look at the squeeze on this thing. I think it's ready to fire to the upside. It's a 3x triple leveraged ETF, so you get some really nice returns. So I sold 30-day puts on this sucker. So I sold the 75 put down here in my IRA. I don't know if you guys really care that I'm sharing IRA stuff or not. If not, pop in the chat. Don't show us crap that you don't tell us about. But I will put IRA put 75. Bam. It'll be on here. Okay, so if you really don't give a shit about my IRA stuff, this is where it is. But I sold this 75 put yesterday for $2.87. It's already down to $2 today, and there's a lot of contracts on this sucker. So that's a pretty nice gain in the IRA today. And then I'm also doing the XLY in the IRA. So if you want me to recover some of these, let me know, and I can cover some at different times with you guys. Just differences between IRA and regular account. All right, so let's jump back into some of these. Apple, Facebook, you got earnings coming up, so I don't want to do much of anything, but it's it's pulled back, which is healthy, I think, for Facebook. It's pulled back to a support level that I had there, so it's not a bad area. Amazon is pulled back. I think this gives you a good opportunity on Amazon. I really like it. Got earnings coming up on Amazon, which I'm not worried about the earnings on some of the other tech earnings impacting Amazon as much. We'll see how Amazon web server stuff goes. All right, Vicky, thanks for sharing IRAs. So I got one yay. Woohoo! So I'll keep sharing those. But yeah, Boeing, Apple, and XLY and TNA are that's all that's in my IRAs right now, except for also a DraftKings put. That's it. 4 trades, all options, no stocks, no mutual funds, nothing. All right, here's NVIDIA. All these have pulled back to where they're much more reasonable now. 600, maybe it's a good spot. It's a nice round number to hold on NVIDIA. Things still look decent on it. Google, I mean, everything's heading into earnings next week. So next week's going to be huge on earnings. So I'm not touching much of these unless you're putting earnings plays on. So Igor. So Igor may have some earnings trades for you guys or some of the others, but or Anya in Active Trader if you're in there. Not my thing. I try them. I'm not great at earnings trades. It's out of my wheelhouse, so I try to stick away. The only things I like are strangles or iron condors on earnings, and I try to play outside the expected move with about a 3 DTE trade. So depending on when the earnings are, it's anywhere from a 1, 2, 3 DTE, 4 DTEs at the most on earnings trades, and then I try to play a strangle outside the expected move, giving me a decent amount to win. Yeah, I will bore you all with slow-moving income trades and SPX and RUT. Yeah, I'm probably the most boring guy on this entire platform. So, but we just make money every day. We're now up 1.4% on the day, by the way. So we're making more and more money the longer I talk. So boring to me is awesome. And my theta at 420, awesome. And my delta at negative 110 on an up day, and I'm generating 1.5% on my portfolio. And I'm sitting here doing nothing but ringing the register. All right. Anyway, it sounds like some kind of cheesy, crappy guru, FUBU guru guy selling something. All right, so let's move on. Adobe looks good. No earnings in sight, so Adobe not bad. AMD, we got earnings coming up. We're in it. I'm sticking through it through earnings. Not much. I'm going to keep rolling until earnings, and then we'll keep an eye on it. If we've recovered a lot by then, I might take it off because I don't know what AMD earnings are going to look like with this chip shortage junk going on. DraftKings, love it. So you guys all know we're in it. Here, we don't expire till next Friday. We sold the 52. In fact, why don't I have that on here? So this is what we own, or what we sold. And by the way, Igor, I'm heading back to New York in a couple of weeks for a week. So I'll let you know. It looks like I'll be back there every couple of weeks for a while. All right, so DraftKings dropped down. Maybe by then, if there's more people around, we get some people together. Anyway, DraftKings, we own the 50. We sold the 52 put. It's up here. I love it. I think this is fantastic. I think this pullback was a little crazy and overdone, and I don't see any reason why this thing's not going back to all-time highs in the next couple months at the soonest. So I love DraftKings here. Everything's recovering. Everything's starting to look like that. So DocuSign, well off of its lows, good opportunities. Teladoc has not recovered like the other ones have, but it's been able to hang inside of its expected moves for the most part, which are continuing to get more and more narrow because we're in a squeeze. So as this thing stays in this squeeze, you can see the expected moves are getting narrower and narrower on it. So I think this thing's getting ready to move one direction or another on it. So, hey, I'm going to have to jump in a minute. So we're going to do one more trade and then or a couple more, and then we'll look off. So if you guys have a stock you want to touch base with, great. We've been at this for a full hour. Time flies when you're having fun. I'm loving Square, but it's pretty weak in here. So I'm going to give it a little bit more time to get its act together. Let's take a quick look at anything that Squeeze fired today. Hello. All right. I have no idea who DQ is. It's not Dairy Queen. So Squeeze has fired there. Looks interesting. Mosaic, Squeeze has fired. It's already fired. It's fired, didn't fire, fired. So Mosaic looks really, really good, but you got earnings coming up. Schwab is firing. So Schwab looks really interesting here. Maybe the Biden announcement thing will help it. Maybe we're going to tax all the millionaires that use Schwab. Anyway, Schwab is up and hitting the top of the expected move today. I think you could sell something below the expected move for next week, sell a put on Schwab. So I think there's some opportunity there. Penn Gaming, I'm waiting for earnings to resolve themselves. And then I want to get back into Penn Gaming at lows here. And then every airline, this pullback's been fantastic. I think every airline needs to be something that you're looking at right now. I'm in Boeing, but I also want to be in some airlines, potentially in my IRAs. So I would seriously be looking at cruise lines and airlines now because I think things are going to happen. So there's my quick analysis for the morning. I got to jump off, got to run, got a meeting, and we'll be back on to sell some some E-minis later on today and watch our account continue to make money. All right, guys, have a good day. We'll talk to you all later. See you in chat.